What shall we talk about today? Let's see. There is my mother, Joan Dorff, sitting comfortably on her seat, wondering what her son is going to ask her. Who is the real Joan Dorff?
You'd have to find her at 11710 Old Georgetown Road. That's where you'll find her.
But who is she? How would you describe Joan Dorff? What makes you tick?
My family.
Come on, it's got to be more than just your
My
family.
family.
Okay, so your family. What else? What gives you joy in life?
My family.
I see this is going to be a really good interview. You're one of those that, yes, no, yes, no.
Yeah.
Well, we know you get enjoyment in a lot of things. You have a whole history.
I enjoy learning.
Right.
I enjoy studying. I enjoy being with people that I enjoy.
Well, you've always been a social person. People all tend to like you when they meet you and they pursue you.
You're my son, so you're saying that?
No, but I'm telling you, you're always getting phone calls. Remember I told you if it weren't...
There's spam.
Remember I told you if it weren't for you, I'd get no phone calls? No, I know. People think highly of you. People that meet you, they like you. You were the force of social life with you and Dad.
Yes, I was.
Dad was very content, just probably staying at home, right? You like to get out and go and do. You still do.
I do. I like to go. I like to see new things, do new things, meet new people.
So what are some things that you would like to do this year?
Travel.
Where do you want to travel to?
Actually, because it's more difficult for me to do big trips, I think I'd like to go up towards Cape Cod in the autumn, see the changing of the leaves. I think that would be an interesting, fun thing to do.
Well, you've done a lot of travel.
Mm-hmm.
What were some of your most favorite experiences and why?
Well, because when you travel, you learn.
But what were some of your most favorite spots?
I love Morocco. That was definitely very high on my list because it was a different kind of culture. It was not like an English culture or European culture. It was not a Chinese culture. It was different.
It was a Moroccan culture.
It was a Moroccan culture. I liked China mainly because I'm interested in some of their antiques. So naturally I would be interested in learning about.
Where did you visit? Where in China? How much of China did you actually get to see?
I saw Beijing. I saw Xi'an. I saw Wuhan. I saw Nanjing. I saw more than that. I'm trying to think right now.
And you went to China off of a snuff bottle convention?
It was a snuff bottle convention.
Where was the convention?
Beijing.
It was in Beijing. So did you befriend any Chinese collectors?
Well, no. The Chinese that I befriended were from Los Angeles, and they were Americanized.
And you
Oh,
also
but
like
no,
someone from Hong Kong, right?
No, Henry Huey. I've always been friendly with him.
And where is he?
Right now, he's in Hong Kong.
Okay.
His wife was like the Loretta Young of the Chinese women. She was a stunning woman. She dressed magnificently. They were an interesting couple.
Well, you visited, if I remember, you mentioned you when you were in China, you went to a health clinic where
We did.
they
A lot of
dictated
people,
they
lots of
mentioned.
people wanted to go to the factories where they did jade. Dad and I really didn't want to do that. We went to a clinic because I've always been interested in medicine. We went to a clinic, which was fascinating. We didn't speak English. We didn't speak Chinese. They didn't speak English, but we were able to communicate. And when we told them little things just by touching our wrist,
They were checking your pulse.
they were able to tell us what some of the things were that were bothering us.
You didn't have a guide with you or someone
We did.
so he was able to translate.
Yeah. At that time, in that clinic, their bathrooms were very rudimentary. There was like a hole. It was not a toilet. It was a hole in the ground.
So you couldn't sit.
That's right. So, needless to say, we didn't do much going to the bathroom.
So you had to have strong inner leg.
You know, we had a lot of great experiences there. We did the so-called, not so-called, they were doctors. They told us what was wrong, and they recommended certain herbs, which I bought
Mm-hmm.
because I was always more into it than Dad. And we brought them home, and I did what I was supposed to. You put them in boiling water. It was so foul. It was so disgusting. I could never drink it. So that was the end of my herbal experience, my Chinese herbal experience. But another interesting experience, we went down the Yangtze River, and the scenery was so beautiful. It's what you see on different scrolls with the mountains in the background, just absolutely beautiful. But right by the waterfront, you'd see these Chinese people with their families living in huts, really in hovels, and they would, everybody was busy raving. And I remember somebody, I don't recall who it was, said when you get to a certain stop, be sure to ask for silk scarves. And I did. I only bought a couple. I should have bought a lot. I could have gone into the silk scarf business. That was interesting. Another interesting thing in China, I went for a massage. I have to really think hard about where we were. At the end of the sightseeing, we stopped at a hotel. It was a Hilton hotel. And Dad said, "You're tired?" He said, "Go get a massage. They're doing massages here." So I did. And I went down, and this was their culture, their custom, very different than ours. I go downstairs, and there's this one Chinese man with about 5 women all around him. He was like the Führer. He was the big honcho, and told him what I wanted. And I go into this room, a massage room. They did it so differently than we do massages here. It was dark, and all of a sudden I felt them jumping up on my back. Now, I don't understand Chinese, but I had to say, you can't do that. You're going to break my bones. And that's what they did. I practically crawled back up to our room, but the next day I felt wonderful. So whatever type of massage that they did was very, very beneficial. And
You liked the river cruises, I know.
the river cruise was beautiful because you got to see, and we had different guides. You know, they would put you on a train. One guide would put you on a train, another guide would pick you up at the other end. And one of the guides' father was very big in the Communist Party, and she was a definite.
This was in China.
This was in China. We're talking about China now.
No, I was segueing to your river cruises, unless you still have stuff
Well,
about. You did a river cruise in China?
Yes, we went down the Yangtze River.
But that wasn't a Viking cruise, well.
That was not a Viking. That was a Chinese cruise.
And yeah, you did. How many river cruises did you do in Europe with the Viking?
Just two. I would do them over and over again. They are the most wonderful cruises.
And where did you did one?
We went down the Elbe,
Mm-hmm.
and the other we went down the Rhine.
Which one was your favorite?
They were both favorites. They both offered different. And one in the Elbe, we touched into part of France, Strasbourg. And in the other cruise, we were in Czechoslovakia. And we got out and we walked around, we drove around, we saw Czechoslovakia was taken over during the war, taken over by the Germans. And they were remnants of the war. You know, because Europe was badly bombed and badly beaten, they have embedded in them the war. With this country, we were not affected except our boys went overseas, but we were not bombed, we were not hurt. So our feeling is very different. There, in Europe, particularly in England, even Scotland, I remember, if they knew you were an American, they wanted to be your friend because they knew how the Americans really emancipated them.
You were in Greece, right?
I was in Greece.
Were you in Italy?
I was in Greece, I was in Italy, I was in Germany.
Spain?
I was in Spain.
Yeah.
Some of the countries that I didn't go to, and I can only say I'm sorry now, but now would not be the time. There are some Ukrainian cities. When I see things on the television today with what's going on with the war over there, some of the cities are absolutely beautiful. Just beautiful.
We were talking about that, I think, the other week, about that there's so many places that are beautiful that you wouldn't think, like Croatia.
Yeah.
And the Baltic area, some really very pretty places.
Well, don't forget you've got mountains and you have water. That's the best of everything.
Yeah. Well, I think, Earth has its beauty all over, probably.
It does.
Were you ever in Iceland?
We landed in Iceland. We stayed in the airport.
That's an interesting. I saw a Zac Efron has a docuseries, and he goes to different countries, and he's kind of partnered with this renewable energy expert. And Iceland is cutting edge with the geothermal energies that come from their natural resources, what they're able to do.
People think
You would like that. You should watch that. That's on Netflix.
you'll have to tell me about it. People think of Iceland as being cold and icy, and Greenland.
Right.
It's just the opposite.
Right.
Greenland is just full of glaciers and it's very icy.
And you were also in South America, right?
We were in South America.
What did you see in South America?
We went to Brazil, Argentina. Actually, Argentina was a big surprise to Mom and to Dad. When you think of South America, I think of a lot of peasants, a lot of small, dark people. Argentina, there were a lot of blonde people. It was a very European-looking country, what we had seen. We went to the grave of Vita Perón,
Mm-hmm.
and even to this day, the people still have very high regard for her.
Is there a country that you did not get to that you wish you did?
No, I can't. I wished I could have spent more time, like in Japan. Japan was very modern. In Tokyo, I liked it when you went out of the city. We took a bullet train, but Tokyo was big. It was beautiful, beautiful buildings, beautiful gardens. Because I used to tease Dad when we were there. I said, when you retire, you can go to Japan and be a master gardener. Have beautiful gardens.
Yeah, I believe they also have some beautiful countryside.
The countryside. Yeah.
Again, I think so many countries have probably tremendous beauty.
Everyone and everything offers something unique.
All right, well, I guess we'll conclude our first segment of our travel segment of the Joan Dorff interviews.